hyper farm your Jinx, and bully Eddie any moment you can.
Agree with you right there. Like, as Megaman here, you pick the Lulu into Zoe, it's a non-interactive lane. You don't really have the range to interact with that Zoe, unfortunately. And Lulu normally wants to bully the lane, so if you can't bully the lane, go bully the jungler instead. And honestly, probably need it, because Poppy into Kindred is pretty good for the Poppy as long as you can get in range. Once you're in range of the Kindred can't actually hop away either. The Steadfast Presence not only stops engages, but it also stops people trying to get away, trying to flash away or skip away from you as well. So for DFM, you know, they can afford to play a little bit more aggressive in the early game, in the jungle play.
Whew, Swamp got me scared there for a moment. Thankfully, he knows what's up. I've seen way too many players. I've just seen way too many players, like, they know someone's behind them and they'll still walk up. And you're like, what are you doing, my gamer? That's not what you should be doing. I looked at the runes, nothing too out of the ordinary here. I'm pretty sure, I know some people say that Electrocute's really good on Zoe, but I like Harry just really, especially because, as you said, non-interactive lane, you just need to try and get damage down onto Megaman if you're even allowed to. So, well, good luck. Good luck in that one, Yaharong.
Yeah, it's just more consistent poke as well for the Zoe. If you're going the Electrocute, a lot of times you do have to land your skill shots, whereas now Yaharong doesn't need to land skill shots against the Lulu. So it's much more comfortable, much safer here. Now, Midnight, this is the match of the week for a reason. And the reason is largely actually around AXIZ more than the fact that it's DFM. And it's because AXIZ plays very interesting strategies, and it's usually in the early game. So I'm going to be particularly watching for Swamp here to see what Swamp can do. Because I think if they just kind of play really passive for the most part, yes, it favors the Jinx scaling and the Kindred scaling, but I don't think that playing standard or passive into DFM is ever a good idea.
Well, it might not be allowed to, as Harp, never mind. Harp needs to go to Specsavers, get his eyes tested up real quickly. This is the first hook, which, like, he needed to hit that on Dicey, but, like, to a degree, Sanction does have cleanse as well, so I like the idea. Unfortunate nothing came. But I wonder where Swamp's gonna find that opening, right? Because bot lane he doesn't really want to do, because, like, if you mess up, Sanction and Dicey just fall really, really far behind. You can try kill Yaharong in mid, but I feel like Zoe's never gonna walk up close enough to the side where you're going to be able to get the kill, even on the back of Whimsy giving you that little bit of extra speed bonus. And Dicey, yeah, doing a good job making sure Sanction's safe. And I want him to be aggressive, but again, where do you play aggressive this game?
Look for skirmishes, contest the objectives, go into the jungle. Kindred's really good at actually sneaking in and stealing stuff in the jungle as well, especially wherever the Marks is. Now, Mark did spawn a bot side, but Steel first one on the move there.
Yeah, and Swamp is just not even going to try and contest it there. Going to go top side, and I just hope for the Mark to respawn. Like, it should be able to get there, but Steel's posturing like he wants to dive, and instead he's going to find Swamp, and yeah, neither of these guys can do anything. It's very passive, very fun, and then you look topside, and you feel nothing but pain for Yoshi, because he's nearly 20 CS down, and we're not even 4 minutes into a game of League of Legends.
And I repeat, Yellow Yoshi picked the Malphite after he saw the Gwen, right? This was a team decision. We're sacking Yellow Yoshi once again here, and this time it's not on a support. There's no support items to fake an income here. You've got to farm or fall behind. So maybe you can look topside. Look for Ebby to try and punish a little bit, you know, with this Kindred, with this Malphite. Especially at 6, there is that small window of opportunity where Malphite can burst out the Gwen there. Not to 0, but any sort of gank assist would be maybe enough to kill them, especially before the Riftmaker complete.
Like, to a degree, yes, but there's also one saving grace for the fact that it is the Malphite locked in, and it's why Yoshi, while he probably isn't having a good time this game, he's not going to be completely miserable. And that's because it doesn't matter if your Malphite is 100 CS down or the fact that they're 0-10. If he hits the ultimate, that's his job done. And that's kind of why the Malphite is one of these lock-ins that you can just, even if it is a garbage matchup, it technically works. And I want Swamp to go topside. Why force something onto Ebby? He's level 5 with no mana, and he is really pushed up. You might be able to force something out of him. Instead, Swamp looks happy to farm, and I think their intention is just try and get to as late game as possible. But Sanshong is taking an absolute hammering in this bot lane because there's no pressure.
Yeah, that's Cleanse and Exhaust now burn the bot side. There's no more combat summoners.
Oh,
yeah,
it's so easy up there, nice and easy.
Oh, Warm.
Nah, easy clap, easy clap.
I'm sorry. I did watch the first 2 games of the day, and I saw way too many way too many turret shots taken by supporters there. So, yeah, Harp had me worried, but you're right. DFM a little bit cleaner here. And all of this, again, it's being enabled by really good vision, by wards. They know exactly at all times where Kindred is. And so when they land this sort of poke, they know they can go in. Like we said, Cleanse burnt, Exhaust burnt, and Sangshu, you're just low on health at this point. You need to back off. There's too big a minion wave here.
But that's the bit of greed. Sangshu does not want to give up that minion wave. And Harp getting close, but yeah, really good job tanking that one. And AXIZ have made it very clear that their entire game plan is based on getting to the late game.
Yep.
Sanction has a cull to show that, and Swamp has just been trying to farm up a storm here. So I know we joked about not doing anything for the first 30 minutes of the game. I think that genuinely might become exactly what this matchup is.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way, unfortunately, here. And it's worth noting as well, Sancho picks up this cull, not as first item, but second item. This is after they got dove in a 2v2. That was not a turret dive set up by the jungler or by teleports or by roams. That was a straight 2v2. And that is terrifying. And that's why we see the call. Because Sancho and Dicey have kind of said, okay, we're not going to win this. We're completely seeding this. And because you see that call come through, DFM knows we have perma prio bot side. Hey, Steel, you already win that 1v1 against Swamp. Have fun taking free dragons.
Dicey, that's ambitious, buddy. We just talked about how you are not allowed to do anything in this lane. You are 30 CS down between your AD carry and you. Harp, though, has overstayed his welcome a little bit there. Force a flash over the wall. Swamp will say, you can do that, well, so can I, and grab himself his team's first kill of the game. But one part is I don't think that was a mark.
Yeah, I don't believe so here. I don't think Utapon's marked either, but Utapon still has flash and heal here.
He has chakrams though. He does have chakrams, but level 6 is available. Force the flash there. Utapon running away for the line. A couple more hits, not able to get out of the way of the zap. And does get taken down, and DFM's power in the bot side is not clearly working out as well as they were hoping for.
Yeah, a little bit too overconfident from Utapon and Harp there, and Harp's sacrifice wasn't actually in vain because it bought Utapon a lot of space, it bought him time, and it zoned off Sangshu from the wave. So that sacrifice, understandable, but Utapon, that one not so worth there. You don't get anything out of it. You end up dying, and that's allowed Sangshu to catch back up. And keep in mind, the cull as well. So despite being down, maybe almost 20 CS at this point, the cull is going to make up for some of that gold here. Sangshu is not actually that far behind later on in the game. Yeah, only down really in the combat stats in lane right now.
Yeah, and to a degree, AXIZ aren't looking at the laning phase and thinking, oh boy, we need all the combat stats we can get our grubby little hands on. They're looking at the laning phase and thinking, oh boy, can we get the hell out of this, please, so we can get to where our composition is actually good. Mid and late game team fighting. And so far, it's not bad. They're 1,000 gold down, give take. It's 10 minutes into the game, basically. And if they can... God, so many... Oh, they're only 1,000 gold down. But, if they can stay 1,000 gold down for the next 10 minutes in a composition that is so strong late, it's not ideal, but that's absolutely a win in my book.
Fair enough. If they can keep the gold lead to only 1k. You know what? I'll be more generous. I'll give them another 1,000 gold. If you can keep it within 2k gold in 10 minutes time, I think AXIZ are in a great position. But this is DFM. And the way DFM plays tends to be a little bit slower in the beginning of the game. They're not looking to make fancy plays. They don't look for very many cheese ganks or aggressive plays. They farm up and then they punish your mistakes. They will look to dominate you in the 1v1s, in the 2v2s here, and they're already building up their small leads. The bigger problem comes about when they start completing their first mythics. That's usually when we start to see DFN pop off, and that time is not far in the future. Utapon already with the Gale Force here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of aggressive play. Hello? What is this cheese from AXIZ?
Hello, Evie. Evie's bot side.
Evie didn't see it.
No, he has no idea. No, wait. He smells something, though. He smells that something is so wrong. And unfortunately, Yoshi clearly does not have the nose for that because he has no idea that the DFM bot lane was coming up. Now Evie has to die here. A lovely quickening, a lovely grand engine as well. Exhaust is dropped as well. Dicey tanking it beautifully. AXIZ do it good. As Yarong is I mean, he comes down for a little bit of revenge, but unfortunately, a lone Zoe is not exactly a dangerous hunter.
No, I mean, you did manage to get the max range paddle star. Maybe you could have found Dicey, but that's about it. Now, it's important to note that, yes, Herald got traded. DFM did pick that up. But because AXIZ were there earlier, AXIZ should be able to get first start here. I don't think... Yeah, they didn't even drop Herald top, so it's free for sure.
Oh, Mega Man is in a little bit, not early flash, and is nice and safe. And Dicey is here. I don't think they'll be able to save the mid lane turret unless they can get the eye. In fact, no, they're fine. AXIZ, they trade turret for turret. They do lose a lot on their mid lane turret, which is far from ideal. But again, all things considering, it's not the end of the world. They're in that 1K gold deficit still.
For now. I mean, that mid lane turret, it's living on a hope and a prayer. And that's bait. If you think that turret's going to save you, it is not. Yaharong's going to take it in 2 autos here. And Yaharong doesn't even really care about the turret anyways. Zoe, you're poking down here. So DFM still got the 2-for-1 special there. Yeah, you lost first brick. Yeah, they fell behind a little bit in gold. But for AXIZ, they're not unhappy about the situation because they already said they want to get out their lanes. You know, laning to them, that's a 9-to-5 job. You're looking for the after party as soon as the job's done here. And now that turrets are starting to fall, they get to roam. Yellow Yoshi still has the unstoppable force, didn't use it topside. They are getting their mythics as well. Double Kraken Slayer. There is a small power spike, a window of opportunity for them if they want to take it. And guess what's coming up to kick that party off? Hextech and 5. Yeah,
Hextech hitting the rift here. And AXIZ, I genuinely think, should look for something here. Double Kraken, as you mentioned, and Uniform goes through, and Swamp is a nuke, but Dicey has a 2-man follow through. The 6-mega Death Rocket puts Unipon down in the dirt. And Dicey will be the sacrificial, well, Peacock in this situation, I feel like is more appropriate, but he doesn't care. With Unipon dead, DFM, I don't think can contest this. No, there's no way Dicey gets out of this one alive. He's a dead man walking, but AXIZ should be on the dragon right now. They're not, but they should be. That's what this is. Because he doesn't get out. But that was 30 seconds.
Finally they're on it. But, okay, yeah. So I was going to say AXIZ didn't want to do Dragon because they used so many ultimates to secure that particular kill and they weren't sure. But when you see all of the FM Jason, yeah, you go do it. And thankfully, they did actually turn to do it in time. Now, because they took so long, though, they are going to lose prio on this mid lane a little bit. And if Utapon just wants to shove this in, it should be a free turret here for the side of DFM. And I think early game, gold worth more than dragons.
Yeah. I mean, he has Infernum and Caliber, and Mega Man's not holding this one. Hell, Steel's posturing for a dive. So so the mid lane tier 1 does fall. It is still the bot tier 1 in favor of AXIZ, but there we go. Close look at the gold. 2k gold. You talked about you're giving them 2,000 gold is about as far as you want AXIZ to fall behind, and they've hit that mark. But again, look at the items. You now even have your Moonstone in the hands of Mega Man. So if this Jinx is allowed to get her second item, which I really hope is a Hurricane, because I've always read Hurricane over Rapid Fire Cannon on Jinx, the team fights are going to be insane because you've got healing, you've got shielding, you've got peel, you've almost got everything to make sure that Sanction and Swamp just never die.
In this particular matchup here, Midnight, I could excuse the Rapid Fire Cannon for Sanction because the range just to make sure that you're never really at risk of getting hit by the Aphelios there, of being engaged. And you've got Swamp as well for backup. 3 of the kills went towards this Kindred here, which is really nice. Yes, we set up Sanction as the big carry with this Jinx here, but let's not forget, Kindred is also a marksman here, and Kindred does also skill up infinitely-esque, though it's more range than actual damage here. And hey, if Swamp can get enough marks here, you start hitting the point where you outrange or match range with the Jinx. Granted, it's going to take a lot of kills, but we've already had 7 kills in 15 minutes here between the two teams, and I'm guessing it's only going to accelerate in pace.
Yeah, you'd hope so. But yeah, but I'm looking at the marks there. Swamp doesn't have a damn thing.
That is unfortunate.
He didn't get the first mark. None of the 3 kills he was able to grab on the bottom half of that had marks because they happened in the way that he didn't have time to mark and let the mark complete. So, yes, Swamp scales infinitely. Will he scale infinitely? I haven't got a damn clue because DFM clearly do not want to let him play this game as... Oh, Dicey, that's rude. That's...
They're just saying hi. It's only polite to say hi when you walk by, you know, to old friends.
I don't know about you, but slapping someone in the face with basically a cape made out of, like, I don't know, spare skin? Not my version of saying hi. I don't know how... Maybe Australia does things a little bit different than the rest of the world. I'm willing to accept that, but that's not how we do it down here, mate.
Okay, yeah. When you put it like that with old dead skin, I can see where you're coming from there. I never really thought of feathers quite that way, but...
Oh, aren't they?
Okay.
It's a bird's skin is a feather. Is that not how that works?
I feel like skins...
I'm an idiot. I spend my time yelling at video games for God's sake. I haven't got a damn clue what's going on.
Oh, wait, no. This is important here, because when you eat, like, chicken, like, deep fried chicken, the skin is great. The skin is not feathers here, Midnight. We don't eat the feathers.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Then, I don't know what you defined it as at that point. We're getting into some really weird territory as, oh, nice Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Megamin. Unfortunately, doesn't mean a damn thing, because the rest of AXIZ are protecting very nicely. And as a 4-man army, I mean, DFM has to be a little careful. Okay, 5-man army, Yoshi is interested to contest for this Herald.
Okay. They're looking for the engage here.
Swamp! Woo! He is hungry for violence today. Looking to dive forward there, Yaharong gets damage onto the tank that does not give a rat's about that. And AXIZ say, okay, cool, we'll see you guys in a little bit. Yaharong is playing a dangerous game, but AXIZ look very interested to take the Herald with the way they're positioning, or they have no idea where the exit to this ride is, and they're trying every exit that they can get their hands on.
Rather than the Herald here, AXIZ is looking for the fight, because they want the kills here to accelerate their pace of the game. And they have, like we said, a power spike right now with the way their ultimates work. DFM don't have strong team fighting tools here, and Utapon is not running Kraken Slayer. He's with the Gale Force. Great for repositioning and single target burst damage, which is what they want to do with the pick. So you can see as soon as DFM don't get the engage, they kind of back out because they recognize that, hey, the counter pick is going to start coming back at this point.
Yeah, and DFM...
Oh,
well,
they can't get it.
AXIZ was really cheeky with securing it, but unfortunately they're not going to get much.
Oh,
Yoshi is going to get hurt, but like he's going to live, assuming he keeps running. Yoshi, good boy. He'll get out, and again, it doesn't matter if he malfights at half health, because he has ultimate. But it looks like, it timed out as well. That's unfortunate. AXIZ will lose the Herald. They'll lose the Dragon. They'll lose quite a lot here. Because unfortunately, Sangshun just fired that a spot too early, and Steel's not going to let his namesake happen against him.
Yeah, you know what? I was fine with AXIZ not getting the Herald after attempting that play, but losing the Dragon is a little bit unfortunate, especially when it is an Infernal map, Infernal Dragon stacking as well. That's always going to feel nice for DFM to pick up. Now, giving one Dragon up, that's okay. You're fine. You're still in the 2K mark. AXIZ still have the tools they want and need to make plays here, but if they keep trying and it doesn't pan out, I am getting a little bit worried. Ebby is starting to scale up, and Ebby already with the Rift Maker here. Yellow Yoshi doesn't have a mythic, so already this split pushing Gwen is going to start becoming a bit of an annoyance here for AXIZ.
Yeah, it puts Yoshi in the, I want to call it a survival game, but like in like typical survival games like your Hunger Games and stuff like that, it's usually a bit of a fair fight. You know, everyone has access to the same number of resources, and you can kind of utilize what does and doesn't work. Yoshi's basically playing with half a limb, just sawn off his body, because there's nothing he can really do in the matchup, and he hasn't even been able to put a mythic together. So he just has to play the most annoying survival game. But if he pulls it off, if he only loses like the tier 1, I think that's completely acceptable. Because when you come to the team fights, if you get that 2, 3, 4-man ultimate, you've paid your dues.
It becomes a bit of a tug of war between the two teams here, and it's about timing. It's about wave manipulation on the side here, like you kind of alluded to there. And the longer the lanes get, of course, it partially favors the side of AXIZ in that if you set up your waves right, you buy yourself a little bit more time. But likewise, the longer the lanes get as well, the more space Ebby has to play, and Ebby will continue to scale up being that monstrosity throughout this game as well. So for now, DFM are the ones on the push. TP is available for Ebby, and DFM right now, they don't want to force a play, they want to buy time.
Yeah, but AXIZ clearly not agreeing with that mentality there. Swamp, I love how aggro he's playing, because in his back pocket, he has Lamb's Respite. And in his back pocket, he has the rest of his team moments away. So it looks ballsy. It looks like, oh, if that goes wrong, everything goes disastrous for AXIZ. But the answer is actually no. If it goes badly for AXIZ, then they have reinforcements. But DFM, Steel. I kind of respect that from Steel, though. Because, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're a poppy.
Yeah. Everything you said about Swamp kind of applies to Steel as well, right? He had the rest of the team in his back pocket as well. He's got that Dark Passage from Harp if everything goes to absolute crap there. So they're fine with it. And for DFM, without a major objective, there's no reason for them to fight anything, right? Like, AXIZ can't actually force them to group up and do that fight. Oh, Swamp. Fine.
He got his second mark.
Second mark. Okay, there we go. Swamp stacking. Yeah, but for AXIZ, they need to play around the objectives here, and unfortunately the last time didn't work out with the Herald. Dragon's coming up in 2 minutes, and that's going to be very, very key for AXIZ to see whether or not they can actually win a team fight or force DFM to fight. We saw last game, right, Sengoku versus Hawks, the way those Dragon fights go, if it runs long, it favors DFM. AXIZ needs it short and sweet.
Yeah, and it puts AXIZ in a way, like, part of me thinks in this sort of situation as AXIZ, could you, oh, hold up, Sanction might be in trouble there, Dicey, well, he'll be fine. That was a lot of help, though. But what I was going to say is, in these situations, could AXIZ trade Infernal Dragon number 3 for DFM for a Baron and use that Baron to basically survive a couple minutes to get everyone to their third item, specifically Swamp and Sangshu?
It's possible, but I don't think it's the best trade necessarily for them. Rocket actually being used to check Baron. Yeah, because there was no Blue Trinket. Blue Trinket coming through from DFM there. But for AXIZ, I think Dragon's more important here. Ideally, you want to pick that one up. You have a lot of Dragon burning potential here. And what you have to remember is that Baron is temporary. It's 3 minutes. Dragons are forever. And Infernal Soul, now that one really does a lot. It's like small diamond earrings compared to big diamond ring. You really want that Infernal Soul.
Oh, I'm sorry. That comparison in my head is... I've never heard someone describe the difference between Baron and Dragon so concisely with such an elaborate metaphor, but I do love it. And clearly AXIZ agree, because they are all on the bottom side of the map here. They are prepping for what they do best. Front to back, keep Sanction and Swamp alive. Megamin buff someone up to all hell, Dicey CC them, and Yoshi rock. And in fact, DFM, do they just not care?
They don't want to fight this. Like we said, AXIZ are the ones looking to pick a fight right now, and DFM, they're just not feeling terribly comfortable. So, you know what? Just seed it, right? Like, they took the second dragon already. They're not worried about Soul. Soul is a good 10-15 minutes away. And instead, you ask me, is AXIZ wants to trade? DFM wants to trade.
Yeah, they do know TPs are coming through now. AXIZ are rallying the troops. 6,000 health. DFM, they look like they want to fight as well. They have caught out Swamp. Will Yaharon get enough damage down close, but not enough? But that is 2 ultimates burnt. That is the Wild Growth as well as the Lamb's Respite down. DFM are now going to start picking apart as Yoshi is forced to use Unstoppable Force. AXIZ, they're so afraid for a fight because they don't think they can take it, but... can you even take a fight now? You haven't got 3 of your most important ultimates. All you've got left is a quickness.
Well, they have the rocket as well here, and they've got the range to try and get the poke for now.
Oh god, Swamp's being caught out. Swamp's gonna die. But they do die both the roll. AXIZ are rallying around their carries. They might have enough damage now. They will back away. As the event have got the Baron still. They are not interested in letting that one go. I don't know if AXIZ knows Swamp is getting close, but Swamp's going to get nuked down. Ebby says thank you very much as they dive into the backline there. Sanction is charging forwards. DFM dives into the back. Dicey doesn't get much. He's claiming the ball, but Sanction is still up. He's gotten the resets. He's pretty happy about it all. But it just does not matter when there is no one to protect the Jinx. The Jinx will die.
Midnight, I don't think DFM expected it to be quite so successful as well. This is one of those situations where, like we saw in the last game, sometimes you want to burn Flash instead of the ultimate. Yellow Yoshi burning Unstoppable Force. You're right, there's no risk. DFM get free Barret, and the fact that AXIZ still chose to stick around really came back to bite them here. And there's just no good access to this Baron pit. They don't have vision, whereas DFM, they've got vision. They left Utapon alone to tank it for a while because they could afford to. And now, AXIZ, Swamp already burnt everything trying to survive. You've got to walk in the front, but you have no tools left to front to back.
Yeah, and now Eddie comes in from the flank. AXIZ have no choice but to fully commit into there. And unfortunately, there's just not enough frontline to keep the Jinx safe once it's too late. And that's...
Yeah.
That is a heartbreaker now. 6,000 gold is the break mark here. But part of me still thinks it's not the end of the world, because your Jinx has finally hit 3 items. You are in a brilliant position to deal with most of DFM if your front line stays alive, assuming you're allowed to kill Ebby, because I look down the lineup and I see the Cardinal Sin we've been talking about. Where is the healing cut?
True. And in this particular game, yeah, it is potentially an issue. I do think just the straight damage, though, right now that Utapon has is a far bigger issue. Look at that! What healing cut? You don't need healing cut when you can just absolutely do that. I.e. Collector, Gale Force right now. And this is DFM in a nutshell. We turn on in the mid game, we take one objective, and we threaten to end the game.
Run! Run! Okay, AXIZ, I was feeling confident for AXIZ for a little bit here. And then Utapon told me and everyone else to sit down, shut up, and worship DFM. Which, like, to a degree, fair. The Nexus turrets are not going to last long here. AXIZ, they've got one do-or-die fight, but they want to wait for one more member. But I'm sorry, buddy, you need 10 seconds, and that's not going to happen to dive into the backline there. It just doesn't matter, because look at Sangjun. He's not allowed to participate in the fight. And, well, apparently he's not even allowed to walk the hell back into base, as DFM will crush AXIZ beneath their boot, saying, you needed to get to late game. That ain't happening, buddy.